Hi, this is SheepGirl, and today we're going to talk about tips on showing different breeds and varieties of livestock. Today's livestock variety is going to be poultry, also known as avians. This is my bird, Chatterbox. He is a Plymouth Rock. His variety is Barred Rock. They come in standard and bantam, and he is a standard. Bantams are smaller in size. His full-grown weight is 9.5 to 10 pounds. He is a cockerel because he's under a year and under 6 months. When he's over a year, he is considered a cock. And as you can tell today, he does not want to mind correctly. Normally your bird should be perfectly still and not showing out. But birds are just like us humans. They have some days where they're good and some days when they're not so good. And our second narrator is my mother. So, one thing that you should do is even when your bird is doing what mine's doing and not working, you should stay perfectly calm and get your bird to stay perfectly calm, even though you can tell Chatterbox is not wanting to do so. It also helps to start working with them a little bit earlier than what today's video is. Depending on where you live, you need to know your time frames of when it's going to be too hot outside and when it's going to be cool. And today, some of our utensils I will show you separately. So one of the first utensils I'm going to show you is a show stick. Now, for chickens, you can use either like a blind rod, or I made a homemade show stick. I took a wooden dowel, as the other narrator said. I sawed it in half, and then I painted it with a waterproof paint, and I took fake tattoos and put the fake tattoos across it, which maybe if I go closer to the camera you can see some of them. And then I put my name in between the fake tattoos, and then I took a shellac and went over the top of it so it would stay waterproof and the tattoos wouldn't fade off, which sometimes they still do, but it helps keep them lasting longer. Now, on all your show supplies, before you go to show, you make sure you have your name, if you're in 4-H or FFA, your club or your chapter for FFA, where you're from, for at least your hometown. And that way, if you left your show stick or show harness laying down, they would know whose it belonged to and you can go back and claim it. Now, as you can tell, my bird, Chatterbox, is relaxed and you can't see him. Say hi, Chatterbox. See, he's calmed down a little bit more. I put him in the shade.
You will be showing the parts.
And I will show you a few of the parts of the anatomy. Okay, these are their wings, which they have a primary and a secondary. If I can get him to extend his wings properly, I'll show you the primary and the secondary, which
Cuddle. Do the cuddle.
is not wanting to do. Now, some birds you cannot hold like this, but mine, they prefer. This is their comb. There's 3 varieties of comb. The single comb, there's a rose comb, and a pea comb. Now, on the single comb, one of the disqualifications is having a split, where it splits into 2. And these are their wattles. And if he turns his head, this is his earlobe. On the Plymouth Rock Barred standard, they are supposed to have this grayish-black feathers over their ears. Well, they actually don't have ears, it's just considered their earlobe. Because if it's white, right here, it's a disqualification. And he's actually starting to calm down.
So, what about their eyesight?
They have keen eyesight and keen hearing, a poor sense of smell. They are very territorial birds.
So, what is one of the foods of the wild that your cockerels love to eat?
My cockerels like eating dandelions, lettuce. They try and eat fresh tomato greens. They love eating corn stalks when they're young. As you can see, here's wings spread out. There's two parts on his can't see his wing. There's two parts on his wing. Well, this first part that you can see, this is the primary, and then there's a feather in between it that separates the primary and the secondary. And if some of the stuff I'm talking about you can't see the bird, this is our first video that will go on my blog, and it will go on YouTube. And my blog is nowherelandanimaluse.blogspot.com. And at the end of each blog, I put SheepGirl. And their wings they're supposed to spread their wings naturally. And these are my arm guards, which you're supposed to wear either long sleeves or arm guards when showing poultry and rabbits. When showing both. And I'm going to go put him up, and our camera lady will follow me, and I will go put him some water down and give him a break, and I will talk about some different varieties and work over by the birds. And I will show you the proper way to carry the bird. You put them under your arm, and you hold their feet. You're also supposed to put your hand in between them and hold them like this. But my boys prefer holding their feet, because if you hold their feet, they don't fly away. And then, as you see, we have a little makeshift gate system. And currently I am holding the camera so our camera lady can get up and follow me. It helps when you're making the home videos to have a place for whoever your camera person is going to be to sit. That way they don't get too tired. Okay, here you go. This is one of the larger waterers, which is good for when you have more than one bird. And as you can see, we have cages. When you have more than one cockerel, you need to separate them because they have a tendency of mounting, which is bad. Because the boys will mount each other and they can spur them, and it will ruin the back of their feathers because they spur the hens. Oh, it's okay. I'll put your water over there. I moved the cages so I can rearrange the fencing a little. As you can tell, they each like a certain cage and a certain water. Depending on which, they have a tendency of changing cages. You can take pieces of board like this and sit them over the cage and give them shade, unless you got natural shade over here like in the corner. We have different feeders. This is a rabbit feeder, which also can be used for chickens. And the feeder I like using is this one. It's by Iron Giant. It's a metal feeder. It is a rabbit feeder. But you can mount it on the cage and they don't pull it off, which saves you on wasting feed. As you can see, before I switched to this feeder, they had figured out how to dump that one, and there's some food on the ground. But they do eat it. And as you can see currently over here where Chatterbox is, or the back of my legs, he was drinking from his water, and they also have a tendency of pecking the top of their water. So currently Chatterbox is in a cage, John Deere's in a cage, and PB's over here in the corner on the ground eating his grass. And get him to rotate. And you don't always have to pick them up and move them. You can just move them just by directing them. You can use show sticks to move them. There's different sizes. We have different sizes of show sticks and walking sticks. This is actually a piece off of a tent that you use for a tent stake. And then I had a long show stick somewhere.
Which got broken today.
Oh, apparently my narrator, my mother, says that it broke. Otherwise, it was like this long, and it's what my mom used to. It was at least a good 3 to 4 feet is what she used, so she could just lean over the fencing and move them without actually having to get in and move them.
And the long show stick also kept them from fighting with each other and posturing and signaling.
It also keeps them from fighting. Helps break up the fights. And as you can tell, sometimes they don't remember that the door is on the other side of the cage. They have a tendency of wanting the door to pop up wherever they are. They do like ducking and crawling under different objects.
And it is a myth that birds can
not fly.
They can fly a short distance, and if they couldn't fly, they wouldn't be able to be up in a tree to roost.
Yes, as the narrator just says, they can fly. Some books that you may find or buy says that chickens can't fly, but they can. I have seen mine fly over these pallets, over the short fence pieces. They've even jumped up here. They can jump very high and fly. They prefer running and walking. They fly short distances. And for show, it's better to have your bird calm and have them taught not to be flying all over the place.
Sign off.
And that will be today's lesson on showing poultry. I will be giving my birds a break and let them have the rest of the day to take off and relax. So it was good talking to you, and I will talk to you later.